At 3:10 p.m. on May 31st, 1889, a wall of water 60 feet high, taller than a 5-story building, came crashing through this Pennsylvania valley at 40 miles per hour. In just 10 minutes, it would kill more people than the Titanic disaster. And the most shocking part? It was completely preventable, for just 10 cents. Johnstown, Pennsylvania was the American dream personified. A booming steel town of 30,000 people, it sat in this beautiful valley, surrounded by the Allegheny Mountains. The town had everything: jobs, families, churches, schools. What could possibly go wrong? But 14 miles upstream, America's wealthiest industrialists, including Andrew Carnegie himself, had created something that would become a ticking time bomb. They called it the South Fork Fishing and Hunting Club, and they'd built the largest earthen dam in the United States, creating a private lake for their luxury retreat. Here's where our story takes a dark turn. The club made 3 fatal modifications to that dam. First, they lowered the top by 3 feet to make it wide enough for carriages. Second, they installed fish screens that constantly clogged with debris. And third, they removed the emergency spillway completely. For weeks, the warning signs were everywhere. That Memorial Day weekend of 1889, it began to rain, and it didn't stop. For 24 straight hours, torrential downpours soaked the mountains. At 11 a.m. on May 31st, the lake behind the dam had risen 2 feet overnight. Engineer John Park knew something was wrong. He jumped on his fastest horse and rode to South Fork to send a telegram warning Johnstown. But here's the first tragedy. The telegraph lines were down from the storm. Back at the dam, the situation was getting desperate. The lake was now just inches from the top. Club members were evacuating their cottages, but nobody thought to warn the 30,000 people downstream. At 2:50 p.m., water began pouring over the dam. At 3:07 p.m., the dam's caretaker later recalled hearing what sounded like thunder underground. The earthen wall was beginning to fail. In the valley below, children were walking home from school, workers were finishing their shifts, families were preparing dinner. They had no idea that in 3 minutes their world would end. At exactly 3:10 p.m., the dam gave way. 16 million tons of water, enough to fill 6,400 Olympic swimming pools, exploded through the breach. But this wasn't just water. This was a 60-foot-high wall of death moving at 40 miles per hour, picking up houses, trees, railroad cars, even locomotives, turning them into a massive battering ram. The first town in its path was South Fork, gone in 90 seconds. Then Mineral Point, vanished in 2 minutes. East Conemaugh had 4 minutes to react. Woodvale had 6 minutes. Each town was completely obliterated. But the worst was yet to come. As this wall of debris approached Johnstown, it had grown into something terrifying. A 60-foot-high, half-mile-wide mountain of water, wood, steel, and death. At 4:07 p.m., exactly 57 minutes after the dam broke, it hit Johnstown. Survivor Victor Heiser was 16 years old that day. He later wrote, "I saw the wall of water coming. It looked like a black mountain with houses and trees riding on its crest like toys. My father grabbed me and we ran for the second floor. The water hit our house like a cannonball. In seconds, we were floating. I watched my neighbors' houses simply disappear. But the horror wasn't over. All this debris, including 33 train engines and hundreds of houses, got trapped at the stone bridge downtown. And then, it caught fire. Survivors who'd made it to floating debris were now burned alive. The fire burned for 3 days. When the waters finally receded, Johnstown looked like a war zone. 4 square miles of the city were completely destroyed. 2,209 people were dead, including 99 entire families. 400 children under the age of 10 were killed. 1 out of 3 bodies was never identified. Some were found months later, 75 miles downstream in Cincinnati. But here's where our story takes an even darker turn. The club members, including Carnegie and Frick, hired the best lawyers money could buy. They claimed it was an act of God. In court, they argued that even if the dam had been properly maintained, it still would have failed. The case dragged on for years. In the end, not a single club member was held legally responsible. The victims' families received nothing. The American Society of Civil Engineers investigated and found that the disaster could have been prevented with one simple fix: A proper spillway that would have cost just 10 cents per foot to install. 10 cents. That's what 209 lives were worth to America's richest men. But from this tragedy came change. The Johnstown Flood led to the first dam safety laws in America. It proved that private clubs couldn't ignore public safety, and it showed that engineering negligence could have catastrophic consequences. Today, the stone bridge still stands in Johnstown, a memorial to those who died. But perhaps the most haunting memorial is this. Every Memorial Day weekend, the city holds a flood commemoration. Because they remember what America's richest men forgot. That behind every disaster statistic is a human story, a family destroyed, a community shattered. The Johnstown Flood wasn't just a natural disaster. It was a man-made catastrophe that could have been prevented for the price of a postage stamp, and that's why, 135 years later, it still matters. Because the same greed, negligence, and disregard for public safety that killed 2,209 people in Johnstown, it's still with us today. What do you think? Should the South Fork Club members have been held responsible? Let me know in the comments below. And if you want to hear about the fire that killed more people than the Chicago fire on the exact same night, make sure to subscribe for our next video on the Peshtigo fire.